Hi everyone, how are we today? Is everyone having a cup of tea while we go through this? I'm having a cup of tea, so you'll see me sipping it occasionally, I think, unless I forget about it. Victoria Jennings here. If you don't know who I am, from Entrepreneurs Business School, and this is the Taking Care of Business session, our weekly live, where I take you through different aspects of business. And today we're going to look at 4 ways to view business, particularly and when it relates to working with mentors. It's very interesting how we choose our mentors and who we should be mentored by and who we should get into a mentoring relationship with and why. Okay, and they're all different, and some are going to work really well and some not so much, and there's a reason for that. So I'm going to go into all of that at the moment. So the 4 ways, before I get into what the 4 ways are, the 4 ways I'm going to be talking about are ways that we can measure, and we do that through our profiling tool. It actually measures how these show up in your profile, which is really cool. So the first view of the business though is purpose. So what is our purpose? Why are we doing what we do? Why have we created our business? You know, the big why, but we don't measure purpose. Why don't we measure purpose? Because it continually evolves, it continually changes, we continually change and evolve, our consciousness changes, so it's no good measuring that. Welcome everyone who's coming on board, lovely to see you. It's no good measuring that because it would just change too much. Whereas our other views of business don't change that dramatically until we understand it and we get into it even more. And I'll explain that as we go along too. You become more of who you are, not less of who you are. All right. So the 4 ways we view business, we have 4 different lenses, if you like, or 4 windows of how we look at our business and how we build our business and how we work with others. Like, it's all interrelated. So the first way is the strategic view. This is the one that I personally come from. All right. So when we are in the strategic view of business, we are looking at the tasks at hand. We're very task focused, very goal orientated. We come up with lots of ideas, and we need what our work is doing or what our business is doing needs to be really significant to us, or we're not engaged. So if it doesn't have significance, we're out of there, or we're on to the next bright shiny object, right? So it can be introvert or extrovert depending on what your other views of the world are, and I'll talk about that too. You can be either introvert or extrovert if you've got a lot of strategic in you, and if you're viewing your business through the strategic window. So if you're viewing your business through the strategic window, your strategies are going to be amazing. Your business plans will be amazing, okay? It just, you know, makes sense. If you're working with a mentor who's coming from that view of the world, then they are going to be all about business strategy. And if you're working with me, you see that I'm all about business strategy. I have roadmaps, I have templates, I have checklists, and they're all to do with strategy, the model of your business, and how to organize it that way, right? And that's what I'm doing as a mentor. That's what I give everyone, and I actually give everyone the 4 views of business, right? That's exactly what I focus on, because most of us have one view predominantly, and we can't see what we can't see. And so our businesses are not acting at maximum capacity. They're limping often. Something's overlooked completely, and I'll share that with you too as we go through this. All right, the next view that we can look through is the communicative view. So that's people focused, all about the people, all about conversation. So their work is done through conversation. So there's lots of talk, lots of chatter, lots of fun, lots of excitement, lots of laughs, okay? And they need variety. They have to have variety in their work, or they check out, okay? So these are the extroverts, all right? Communicatives are extroverts. So they energize themselves through being around with other people. Okay, so if you've got a mentor like this, then that's how they're going to show up. it'll be all about their social media. It'll be all about how we communicate, whether we shine a light, whether we build relationships, or whether we network. You know, they'll be coming from that sort of view of the world. Okay, and then we have implementational, and this is very service focused or time focused. So this is the people who love to connect with other people, and they need connection or they check out. And for them, it's all about, they can be introvert or extrovert as well, depending on what communicative percentage they have, okay? And for them, it's all about when to do things, okay? For communicative, it's all about who to do things with, and for strategic, it's all about what to do next. Does that make sense? Okay? And this will show up in the mentors that you work with. It will show up in the offers that they're giving you, and it will make more sense when I explain that a little bit more. And then the final one we have is the final window, which is logical. So this is very data focused. This is about calculation. It's about measuring everything. And how do we measure? We measure with systems. So these people need certainty, or they check out, and all about the how we're going to do things. And these are the introverts, okay? They always show up as introvert because they would rather be with the data than with the people. And they rely on the data because they can analyze the data easily, okay? So when you work with those mentors, they're going to be focused on the data. They're going to be focused on the system. And their mentorship will show that. It will be all based on that. So this is why mentors basically focus on one way of viewing your business. So you have to choose your mentor very, very carefully, depending on what you want to achieve with that mentor, all right? So if you want to make yourself more of an expert, you will connect with mentors or engage with mentors who are the same view of business as you, but who are a step ahead of you. Always make sure your mentors are ahead of you, okay? No matter what, they've got to be ahead of you. All right, so their solutions, you know, are going to be focused on what I said before. Their solutions are going to be strategic, communicative, implementational, or logical. That's what their solutions and their offers will be. So that's the clue, you know, of how they are actually running the services that they provide. So, as I said, if you want to become more of an expert, you're going to choose someone who's the same as you. If you are wanting to gain more of a knowledge in the areas that are not your wheelhouse, that are not your view of business, then you're going to engage with mentors who are coming from the other windows that are different to you. But, and this is a big but, you're going to struggle with it. You will struggle with it because it's not your natural way of being. And so it's going to feel hard. It's going to feel slow. It's going to feel frustrating. And, you know, it's never going to feel like you feel naturally. Whereas when you're working with a mentor who's the same as you, you're going to feel known, understood. It's going to be easy. You're going to get lots of aha moments and confirmations about what you know already anyway. Okay, it's going to feel very differently. But if we keep doing that and we keep working that way too, then we're not going to understand how to engage with the people that we delegate our tasks to and the consultants that we work with, who we outsource to. We're not going to understand the best questions to ask them. And that's when, and I can say this hand on heart from my experiences, that's when you get ripped off, okay? And that's when you'll have a really negative experience of working with, whether it be a supplier, it doesn't matter, even clients, okay? You have a negative experience because they're not coming from your natural way of being. But not only that, you don't understand where they're coming from because you haven't done any work on understanding that view of business. Does that make sense? Please, everyone, feel free to comment. Feel free to ask questions as we go along. I'm more than happy for you to do that if you want me to clarify anything. Interact, please do. I encourage it, okay? So this is why it's so important. Like sometimes in my past, I've done some work with mentors. For example, stock trading. I wanted to learn all about how to trade stocks. And my natural way of being is strategic, okay? Trading stocks is all about implementational and timing. So, and I've got 0% of that implementational, 0. So I was never going to be good at that. No matter how much I learnt, it was never going to come naturally to me because I'm so far away from there. I'm the opposite of there. So I would never spend money on stock courses or, Bitcoin courses or whatever. I would never do that now because I know that would be absolutely wasting my money because I will never be the expert in that area. So I'm better off to be with someone who is an expert in that area, but I have an understanding now of the right questions to ask them so they don't rip me off. Or, we don't have a really bad experience, or I don't burn a lot of money because I do know the questions to ask them, right? Does that make sense? So we want to gain an understanding of all four, but we want to excel at our natural one. And so we're going to choose our mentors based on that. But if we don't know this, we don't know this. Now, this is also relevant to your clients that you work with as well, because some of your clients are going to do all the work and do it very well and do it timely. And that's a clue. They are in alignment with your view of business. So they naturally achieve it. They naturally will get on and do it. But the clients that you have that are struggling, the clients that you have that need extra help, need extra support, they're the ones who are not in the same alignment as you. And that's why they need extra support. I hope this is starting to make a lot of sense, okay? Same with when you're selling to people, right? If you are selling from your way of viewing business, from your way of being, and you're selling to someone who's the opposite of you, then there's not going to be congruency either. There's going to be that mismatch, that non-alignment, and it will be a more difficult sales process. You probably need to contact them several more times than you would someone who views the world the way that you do, if that makes sense. And when you understand this, you can adjust your sales processes and your sales strategies accordingly. You can have 4 different sales processes, which is actually what you need to have, all right? Because you've got to talk to them all in a very different way. With the logical client or prospective client, you not only have to talk their language, you've got to give them all the information, and you've got to leave them alone for 24 hours to make a decision. Because if you push them into a decision, their answer will always be no. Because they need certainty. It just comes back to that. So they want to get all your information you've got, and then they want to do their own research on top of that. So does that make sense? Whereas if you're talking to someone like me, who's very strategic, and you're wanting to sell me, keep it short. I only want to know the dot points, and I'll make a decision based on my intuition. Okay? So just give me the shorthand version. Give me the, just the pricey. That's all I want. And if I can't make a decision on the pricey, I'll probably say no, because your pricey's not nailing it. All right? So again, you can look at all of those things and you can adjust them accordingly when you understand those 4 different views of business. It just makes it so much easier. All right? You're not going to get this in detail by the end of this session we're having together, but you will get it in the Roadmap to Millions, because that's what we focus on in that program. So anyway, back to how we choose our mentors, right? So this is why you connect with some mentors better than others. Right from the outset, if they're in the same wheelhouse as you, then you're going to trust them immediately. If they're not coming from the same wheelhouse as you, then it's going to take a little bit longer for you to engage. But now that you understand this, they're probably the mentor that you absolutely need right now in your business, because you can't see what you can't see. And this is true for all of us, depending on our percentages, right? So it just makes it so much easier to connect with the ones that are like us. It feels good, it feels natural. And will it always feel good with that mentor who's in alignment with who we are? Yes, it will. It will always feel good. You won't feel challenged at all because you'll be happy to do whatever it is that the offer is making you do, right? Whatever they're working with you on. So when you're working with someone who's working on another area that you can't see so well in your business, then it's always going to feel like a struggle. It's going to feel unnatural. And will it always be a struggle? Yes, it will, because you're not coming from that naturally. But when you understand that and don't beat up on yourself for being, for being, I hate this word, but I'm going to say it because it explains it. Yourself feeling dumb, because we've all done it. We've all been there. And frustrated with yourself. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Frustrated with yourself, right? But you'll understand why you're frustrated with yourself. You'll understand why it feels like walking through cement. You'll understand why it's difficult. And you'll persevere because you know it's not your natural, talented area. And that's okay, because you have to get a knowledge of it so that you can see it, number one, in your business, and so that you know the best questions to ask when finally you're at a place where you can delegate those tasks to someone else or outsource them. All right? And you want to do that as quickly as possible. But of course, when we're in a startup, we can't do that because our budget often won't allow us to do that. So you've got to, suck it up, sunshine. You've got to do what you've got to do, because otherwise you won't have a business. So in the beginning, we're going to be struggling in 3 areas of our business right from the get-go. We will. And in some businesses, because they don't have this awareness, they never ever plug that hole. And, if your hole is logical, then you're going to be bleeding profits. That's what that means for you. If your hole is implementational, you're going to be bleeding getting things done, getting action, getting movement, getting momentum. If your hole is communicative, then your message to market is always going to be struggling. You won't nail it. You won't be able to nail your message to market often, right? And if it's strategic where you're lacking, then you can't see the direction of your business. You can't see where you want to go. You know what you want to do today, but you don't know how you're going to get there in the next 12 months. All right? So that's what that feels like. That's what that internal struggle feels like from those opposite windows, the opposite, when you're coming from the opposite of you, naturally. All right, so does it mean that the mentor sucks? No. Does it mean that the program sucks? No. It just means it's not in alignment with who you are. That's it. That's all it is. So then, you've got to spend more time to do it, to achieve it. That's all. A bit more time. Might need a bit more help. Might need to pay for some one-on-one sessions to get you through it. Because eventually you will get the aha moment. But we don't want you focused on it long term. We want you only focused on it short term. But you'll still have that knowledge so you can ask better questions. The better questions you ask, the better your business will be anyway. Okay. So increasing your expertise, get the same mentor as you, but at a high level. Increasing your knowledge, then it doesn't matter the level, because you'd probably be struggling with it anyway. And probably the basic level is going to be where you need to start. All right. So do you need more than one mentor then? Well, yes, you do. If you really want to get big bang for your buck, you need to have probably 4. Do you need them all at the same time? No. It depends where your business is at, what stage of business you're at, and what your business is currently focused on because of the stage that you are. So, and if it's you, if your business is where you are, then you wouldn't be, especially in the beginning of your business, you wouldn't have a mentor for that area because you've got that covered fairly well to be able to start the business, right? but you want to get mentors in those other areas to help you grow the business, because it's not the way you view your business. And that's where your holes are going to be. Even now, I've had successful businesses. I know how to put them together. I can always start another business. That's not a problem. Starting for me is not a problem. Completing for me is a problem. All right. But I know that I can always start something. So I have the roadmap to do that. I can just do it over and over and over and over again. So I have mentors at the moment. Absolutely, I do, for this business. So I've got 2 mentors at the moment. So one is coming from communicative, and that's because I only have 16% in the communicative window. All right. 16% is not enough. And if you remember when I talked about the rule of thumb for delegation, if anything under 20%, you should delegate or outsource. Anything above 20%, you can tap into. So I try to get rid of everything below 20% for me, which is everything except my strategic. Okay. So I'm working with someone we're working on lead generation, but they do lead generation through people, okay, through communication, through those things. I'm also working on lead generation with another mentor of mine, and he is coming from the logical focus, the database focus, right? So he's all about the system, which is great because I've only got 4% in logical, okay? So I need that as well. So I've got, and that also is leverage. We leverage through people, we leverage through systems, okay? So I'm working on both of my leverage points because I'm more value. I can create more product, which is value creation. I can do that in my sleep. But to leverage, that's where I struggle. So that's why I've got mentors at the moment, giving me a better view in those areas, letting me set up my business from the get-go so that I've got that leverage sorted. Does that make sense? Will I ever be delegating those things? Absolutely, as soon as I can. As soon as I can. And in fact, one of my other windows of business is implementational, and I've got 0%. 0. So I don't even struggle with that anymore. I've done courses in time management, done all sorts of things over the years in that area, and with 0% it is so hard for me to tap into any of it. All right, so I just give up now, and I outsource that from day one. I make sure I've got that in my budget so that I've got that sorted. I've got someone else doing the implementation because I know I'm going to suck at it. Okay, it's even a struggle for me to get to my live every Thursday on time. That's something I have to really, really concentrate on and work on. So I know that sounds crazy, but that's how I'm built, and I understand that. So I put other strategies in place to make sure that I can show up, to make sure that it does all happen. So that's what you need to do. But my mentors that have helped me with that leverage at the moment, and that's great. Will I always have them? No. Then I'll need help with something else as my business grows. Is this all making sense? So then I'll need another mentor. Now they may be in my wheelhouse, they may not. But when I look for a mentor in my wheelhouse now, I need to have a mentor who's making 8 figures per annum because I'm already making 7, multiple 7. All right. So I need a mentor in my field to make me more of an expert at the 8 level. And they're really hard to find, may I just say, because they no longer want a mentor. All right. You getting my drift? So they're hard to find. So on the way up, it's a lot easier to find mentors who are ahead of you. But as you get to where you want to go, that starts becoming more difficult to find those people. So, and they won't be here with me, right? They're in my networks, and we probably network a different way with those people. We go and have dinner and talk about business. It's not really a program per se with the people that are making 8 figures. I hope this is all starting to make sense. So when you understand this about who you're mentoring with, who you're engaging to mentor with you, It just makes so much more sense. It helps you not to waste time. It helps you not to waste money, because unless you're going to be, really persevere and do it, and my mentors would tell you straight up, and I'll tell you straight up, I am terrible at progressing through the program. I procrastinate all the time and I avoid all the time. So they were expecting me, because of my other business that I have, they're expecting me to be they're one of their star students, but that's not the case because I'm not in my wheelhouse with them. Is this all starting to make sense? So if my mentors see this, you'll understand that now. The issue is my mentors won't even know that this is going on. They don't have that view. They don't have the consciousness to work that out. You might have a little feeling that something's going wrong, but you couldn't nail it. When you understand the 4 views of business, you can nail exactly what's going on and why. And that in itself makes a huge difference when you're working with your mentor, when you're working as a mentor, and when you're, working on your business. It's a game changer, complete game changer. So, that's about it. I've taken you through all of that. Are there any final questions that you'd like to ask me about the different views of business as it pertains to mentorship, whether mentoring or being mentored by someone? Any final questions at all before I start to close this session? If you, while I'm waiting for the things to come through, if you would like to know more information about all of this, then please drop a comment below and just request a get together, and I'll get on Zoom with you and we can have a discussion about it. But as I said, this is all covered in my signature program, the Roadmap to Millions Bootcamp. It's all about the roadmap so that you can see business through all of these views. It's like me giving you glasses that have got 4 lenses rather than 1. All right. And then when you get to see your business through those 4 lenses, it's a game changer, because often you haven't seen at least 1 or 2 of those lenses you've never seen, not properly. And so there will be gaps in your business, there'll be limping, and you won't be making them as much revenue or as much profit as you possibly could be because of that. And that's not any reflection on you, not at all. It is just because you haven't had that opened up to you yet. All right. So if you would like to know more about that, as I said, comment below. Love to help you out. If you haven't done the profiling tool yet, and you heard me talking about all of this is identified in the profiling tool, just comment profile below and I'll make sure you get a link to go and do that straight away. Even that, it's a 15-page report all about you. It will give you insight straight away into why things work easily and why some things you struggle with, why things you're more challenged with, and why some things are okay, because you've got 20% there. So yeah, it's okay, but is it at maximum level? Because the idea is to have everything at 100% in your business. Then you've got a rockin' business, right? Alrighty, so thank you everyone. Thank you so much, Scott, Ada, for being here. I really appreciate you staying all the way through. And on the replay, if you watch the replay, please comment replay below so I know who's watched it and who's seen it. And I'll see you again next Thursday at the same time for Taking Care of Business. Victoria Jennings signing off. Thanks everyone. Bye.